In darkness, the goddess flips a coin. 8 threads she weaves to conjoin. Bound by passions they need to sate, these shall form a twist of fate.
Hope is the thing you have when your back is up against a wall. When you don't have the right weapon, when you don't have time on your side, the thing that you have is hope. When things look bad, that is when hope arrives.
Hope. Well, I have a complicated relationship with hope. I used to have a lot of it, but then I realized hope is just a figment of your fucking imagination.
Hope is knowing things can be different. That there is a chance. Hope is a chance.
Blood and viscera bursts forth from the 3 urns around this dais, seeming to swirl and form into some strange, amorphous shape. Sazey, you said you wanted to turn and telekinetically shove Kynden away. As you do so, Kynden, are you accepting of this shove that Sazey sends towards you?
Not accepting, but very surprised, so I go with it.
Kynden, you find yourself knocked back onto the stairwell, and as you do, you have a perfect view as this amorphous, viscous, dark red liquid begins to swarm up, and you can see protrusions beginning to form inside, and that dark voice... A horror of necromantic arcana comes to life before you as the bone golem clambering up on the dais has these massive scything talons. It appears like its flesh is made from disgorged viscera and material that is swirling in. Odd bits of bone are providing all of this armor and these strange hooks creating this maw as it is just echoing out this mad laughter. We are now in initiative in 2 separate locations, so we will be bouncing back and forth from the 2 as things kick off. As this horror appears, just this wet sucking sound as the scraping of claws as it climbs and appears on the dais, towering over Sazey. Gret, you are up first.
Gret looks up at the monstrous creature and then looks to Sazey very quickly and says, Sazey, did you touch the bag?
Gret, yes, I did.
Good. And then Gret is going to, because it looks like the creature is right next to Sazey, do a sneak attack. 15 to hit?
15 does hit, yes.
Very good. 11 damage. He whips back his hand and, in a fluid motion, loads in a crossbow bolt onto his hand crossbow and fires it just above Sazey's head. As the creature rises, smacks it right in the marrow.
Right in the marrow. You hear this wet sucking sound as the arrow slams in and the viscous just seems to draw it into itself, and you hear this odd crunching and grinding like the arrow itself is being consumed by this creature. Does not seem to do as much damage as you hoped, but still.
As a bonus action, I'm going to use the help action, because I am a mastermind rogue, to give the next person who attacks it advantage by pointing out, it's got bones, that means we can break them.
Got bones, we can break them. I love it. As you face down this gigantic monstrosity, we hear thunderclaps in the distance as we race over to our beachfront scenario, waves crashing upon the shore. Val, you burst forth from this crystal cavern, the light behind you beginning to dim as you are now upon this wintry beach shore, and you can see the chaos that is happening before you.
Val immediately races straight down the beach towards the crystal. She slams her shoulder into the first storm singer.
As you start racing towards, you can see that the storm singers themselves are not carrying the crystal. The choir that they are creating is creating this arcana that is levitating the crystal. So you can still body check him to try and knock him out
his
of it.
concentration.
Yeah. Be a shove attack, so make a athletics check.
13.
That's a 3. You come charging forth, shield up, slam into the back of this storm singer. He gets thrown off balance, slams his head, knocks down into the sand. The lightning that is underneath his skin fades ever so slightly and then crackles up with a deep blood red.
Val shoves into the first one of the Storm Singers, throwing him prone, and then immediately hurls herself over in like a cool flip, throws her sword forward, but flat side of the blade. She's not trying to kill them. She doesn't know what they're doing yet, but to basically knock him away. 13.
As you come up, you jump off of one of the rocks, but the wind and the slickness of the sleet on the ice kind of takes you by surprise, and your attack is slightly off balance. This Storm Singer comes up and dodges out of the way. There is that same lightning that is upon his skin begins to alight with this dark red energy, and you have now become the entire focus of this individual's attention.
Right, totally fine. As Val lands, twists to face him. What are you doing?
We're taking what is owed to us.
This is a person. A person cannot be owed.
This is power. And then we go back down into the dark depths of the Sorrow-Sworn Crypt. Sazey, it is your turn.
Sazey would like to cast Melf's Acid Arrow. What happens is she reaches for her bow, and as she pulls back, a green light starts to issue from her hand and fly up to the front of the arrow. The light flashes and she fires it directly into the mouth of the monster.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, make your attack. You have advantage because of Gret telling you that it's made of bones.
Keen observation.
22.
Right, yeah, 22 very much hits. 9 points of damage. Okay.
And then additional 2d4 of damage at the end of its turn.
And because I used the help action, I'm going to use part of my Hobgoblin tactics to add Spite onto that and give it disadvantage on its next attack.
Hey.
Oh, it gets disadvantage on its next attack. Okay.
And am I allowed to use a bonus action as well?
You can use a bonus action.
I just try to stab it. Oh, this is 7.
The viscera that makes up its form, a tendril, just comes out and wraps around your arm and throws you off balance as you go to stab, and your blade just skitters across the bony armor that this creature has. You're able to wrench your grip away from it, and you can just hear and see this sizzling and smell this burning of bone and calcium that's filling the air from the acid that's now dripping down from its maw. Good thing on Spite, because at the end of your turn, Sazey, the golem that is in front of you is going to roar in your face, and then it's going to bring one of its talons around to try and stab into you.
I'm just glad everyone's listening to me.
He rolled 2 17s, so he is going to hit you. You'd feel this bony spike pierce into your side, and you are going to take 17 points of slashing damage.
Okay. Oh, fuck. I'm like, damn.
As your cry calls out from the bony spike that is coming from you, it merges with the roar of a bear and the howling of wolves as they are swarming down over the raiders on the beachfront. The bears leap up onto one of the shark-helmed individuals and they slam them down onto the ground. As they do so, the wolves start tearing away at the legs, and the bears are able to make a little bit of an advance.
We're on Team Bear, hey?
Definitely on Team Bear. The strength of the bears and then combined with the speed of the wolves, they're able to take these raiders by surprise, push them back, and you can see that a bunch of the dusk-hued individuals with these red mohawks, their bows are just trained on all of this wrath of nature that's coming down right now, and they are not paying any attention to the paladin that has entered the fray and knocked their allies aside. As the bodies crash down into the sand, we continue into its depths to find ourselves back within the Sorrow-Sworn Crypt as Fennec readies himself.
Okay, Fennec, he says the incantation and does the gesture, and part of the gesture is like swirling his arm around his head as the air around him starts to sparkle and shimmer like flashes of white and gold and then dark black and purple, and it collects in his hand, and he throws that energy at the golem. And I'm casting Chaos Bolt.
You rolled on your chaos table?
I will do that first. Everybody within 15 feet of me has to make a dexterity saving throw.
That is Kynden, Gret, You're on the very fringe of it there, Gret, so you're also going to have to make a dex save.
It counts.
21.
21, you save.
19.
You save as well.
So as Fennec throws this spell at the creature, he winces in pain, and it almost looks like there's burns on his skin that start to form as the magic moves out of his being.
Gret and Kynden, as that magic bursts forth from Fennec, you feel this heat wave, and whilst you're able to get out of the vast majority of it, it still singes some of you. You're each going to take 4 points of fire damage.
This is 17 hit.
17 does hit.
21 points of force damage.
21 points of force damage. All right.
And only 8 points to allies.
That doesn't always happen.
So net total of...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ow, 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 ow.
Kynden, as you look back at Fennec, you could swear that there is just this odd sheen of scales that comes and then disappears across his face. They have this red hue to them. It's like there's a hand waving across and you see them and then they're gone. You don't know if you imagined it or not. Anything else for you, Fennec? Do you want to move at all?
Yeah, and then I'll rush up within 10 feet.
As you come rushing up, the golem feel this impact of this bolt of energy as it slams into the opposite shoulder from where Sazey hit it. You can see these cracks in the bone that appear, and underneath you see more of that red viscera that is pooling around. This unholy maw turns to you, and as it opens up, you can see on the inside there are pits of eyes that are staring out at you. It's going to use a legendary action to do its horrific stare at you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Against fear?
Against fear, yes.
Should have used my shield. Dang it.
Did you get really scared?
Might have got scared. That is a 14.
Unfortunately, you are frightened of this creature now.
When Fennec looks inside this horrifying maw, he's just reminded of how close he is to death in this moment and how he's been running from death for a long time.
Sazey turns to Fennec and can see the absolute terror in his eyes, something she's never seen on Fennec's face before. Fennec, what's wrong with you? Fennec!
As the fear cripples Fennec in this moment, we switch back as the blood is pounding in your veins and you can hear that thrumming of ancient magic within Andromeda. It is your turn. You and Aiko both have an 11.
Quickly surveying the landscape, Andromeda does not want Val to be hemmed in on both sides by enemies. So she quickly retracts her great axe and bull rushes 3 of the archers beside Val. She's going to use her strength and her might and just push them, and I'm going to see how many of these archers I can smash back into the waves.
You know what? Aiko is going to combine this with a shatter spell. You get advantage on your strength check. Okay, skirmishers rolled a 12 on their athletics. The Templar, on the other hand, got 19. So 12 is the DC for the archers. Depending on how much you beat that by, I will say that's how far you're able to push them. The Templar, on the other hand, is made of sturdier stuff. He's the one in the shark armor.
27.
So a lot of beings for that. That's a big good one.
No plows. No plow.
Yeah. This is great. As you come bull rushing up with your great axe, Valkyrin pushed forward in front of you, locked into place. Aiko strums his lute. You feel the vibrations of the shatter spell echo and resonate within Valkyrin itself. Magic is reacting with this artifact weapon. As you hit onto these people, you're hitting them with such magnificent force that they're just getting slammed away from you. You just bull rush all 6 of them into the waves. You watch as they just boom, 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 and they take the hit, and then they slam into the waves. The interesting thing that you notice is, as opposed to falling into the water, all 6 of these individuals land atop of it, as though they are afflicted by some arcana that allows them to walk on water. You have cleared a significant amount of space. However, a lot of people are now looking at you.
Perfect.
You do manage to knock the shark-armored individuals back, but whereas the dusky-hued skirmishers fall prone, these Templars are made of sterner stuff, and they do get pushed back, but they land fists down into the ground, and then they begin to rise, and you can see that they've got dual hand axes, and that red lightning is just crackling all across their skin. That is both you and Aiko, and what a fucking turn that was. Holy shit. Wild. Love it. As Andromeda stands, waves lapping at her feet, watching as these 6 individuals are just looking up at this mighty barbarian before them. Thunder from up above transports us back into the darkness. Kynden, the searing heat from Fennec's spell is fading upon the sides of your skin. You find yourself in this crypt facing off against this horror.
Kynden finally makes it to her feet. She spent this entire time getting pushed back by Sazey, standing up, getting heat damage from Fennec, falling back down, standing up again. She almost winces to take the next bit of damage, but nothing happens. So she squeezes with all her might every morsel of energy from within, and pop, 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 pop. 4 golden hummingbirds pop out from her and spear their ways to Fennec, Sazey, Gret, and then one does like a big hurl up into the air and deep dives down into her head. We all receive bless.
All right.
Sweet Kynden.
Hummingbird blessing, I like it.
Yeah. They're like spearing towards you and just... yeah. Kynden races towards Fennec's flank on his right. From within her pocket, she pulls out 3 very ordinary stones and imbues them with magic.
As you come racing up, Kynden, you hear that laughter echoing around, seeming to come from each of the different alcoves and in and around this entire crypt. The bone golem before you starts to stand up taller, and these 2 scything talons of bone reach up, and from within the viscera, it emerges 2 more arms coming forth, one holding a sword of bone, the other holding an axe made from skulls, and it unleashes in a whirlwind upon all of you as it is now its turn. It is going to enact its whirling weapons. I need all 4 of you to make a dexterity saving throw for me as the golem just begins to twist and spin in a unnatural fashion, whirling through its bone sword, bone axe, and then scything talons swirling around.
Sazey got a 20.
16.
16 is exactly the DC that you needed.
18.
18, you save.
14.
14, okay. Gret's going to take the full 23 points of slashing damage, and you're going to take 23 points of bludgeoning damage as well, so 46 in total.
Still alive.
Wow.
By small margins.
Everybody else is going to take 23 points of damage.
Would I still get that if I actually got a 22?
You would still get it, yes. Yes. You're able to avoid the vast majority, but these 4 limbs are swirling around in such a vicious fashion that you're able to duck under one, but then the next one comes along and slams into your side.
Sorry, how much did you say the damage?
23.
Thank you.
Kynden, I need you to make a concentration check for Bless.
14.
14 is enough. You hear more sizzling as some of the acid is eating into him. Okay, another 6 points of damage. Yeah, flip him off. Fuck you, asshole.
I feel like Sazey really would do that. She totally would.
Pretty good, Bone Jerry.
The bone golem afterwards slides up behind Gret, looming over the top of him, sensing weakness.
Oh no.
Probably sensing my 5 hit points left.
It is now 2 groups that rolled a nat 1 on initiative, Broken Spear and the Templars. These 2 Templars, you watch as they crouch down, lightning crackling around their arms. They're going to leap over towards you, Andromeda.
Gret would be really disappointed in our tactics.
Yeah, fuck him. He's not here.
I sense a disturbance in the force. Someone dissed me. I have bigger problems.
Andromeda, I need you to make 2 dexterity saving throws for me.
Can I see those effects?
Yeah, I'll say that you see them because as they're coming up, their axes are out to the side and you hear them muttering some words as they touch the axes to the lightning and they shoot it off towards you as they do their version of Sacred Flame.
6 for the first one. Nat fucking 20
Oh,
for the
yeah.
second, for a total of 22.
You're going to take 15 points of lightning damage, and then as he comes up to swing his hand axe towards you, you bring Valkyrin up and you just slam it into it, and the hand axe gets knocked asunder, and you turn, Valkyrin comes flying around, slashes through the lightning of the second Sacred Flame, then the hand axe that follows through is going to hit you. You are going to take 9 points of slashing damage. The other Templars that are there are too busy dealing with nature. Oh boy. Oh man. Yeah, all 4 of the other individuals in the shark armor are too busy, like ducking and dodging, trying to get attacks in at the bears, but the bears are just raging around and slashing away. All the wolves are coming in and harrying at their ankles, and they're unable to do anything about it. Run guy, Broken Spear. He's going to come charging down. He's going to grab onto the Storm Singer that Val grabbed, and he's just going to try and hurl him back towards the boulder that is behind him. But as he goes to grab him, you watch as the chorus of voices from the other Storm Singers is still carrying on, and that red lightning is crackling around, and as Broken Spear goes to reach in, his hand is shot back, cocks his head to the side, and he's going to use his second attack to just try and punch this guy whilst he's down on the ground. That is 2 nat 1s in a row.
Whoa!
For Broken Spear.
He's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Just escaped prison. He's out of practice.
Yeah. As Broken Spear brings his hand up, he goes to slam it back down, and as he does so, a massive wave of unnatural proportions slams into him and smashes him back against the rock wall where he came. Whilst he doesn't seem overly affected by the physical aspect of this, the act of not being able to aid in this circumstance, you can see the frustration and feel it in the hum that is emitting from him. The sand around the fallen Stormsinger whirls like a miniature tornado as he rises back up to his feet, lightning crackling in the air. Coils of power coruscate between them as their tattoos glow with furious power. Their hands snap towards you as lightning singes the air in your vicinity. Val, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me as we end the round. You have advantage because of the motivational speech that Aiko gave you.
That is a dirty 20.
You feel the lightning that is coming out from these Storm Singers as their choir is building in tension, and it swirls around you and tries to grip and hold you in place. But what's running through Val's mind that's allowing her to shake off this magic right now?
Her vision kind of narrows to the image of the, in her mind, person that is inside this crystal. The words of the Storm Singer just equating it to pure power, to a tool to be used, and it lights a flame inside of her.
The fire of your sword penance bursts brighter and knocks aside this lightning that is attempting to hold you. 2 of the Storm Singers step forth. They draw these maces and lightning is crackling around them, whilst the other 2 are going to continue moving forth onto the waves with the crystal. But they are not able to move as far because you are interrupting them. The sky rumbles as the storm above the beach grows in intensity as the fight for She Who Dreams continues. The dusk-hued individuals, waves crashing around them, begin to stand, and 4 of them are looking directly towards Andromeda, who just came in all her glory and annihilated them, raise their bows and send some arrows storming towards her. You cut 2 of the arrows out of the air, but 2 more slam into your shoulder. 12 more points of piercing damage. Whilst it doesn't seem as safe, they are going to race along the waves, cluster up a little ways from you, figuring that being able to be on the ocean is going to protect them a little bit more. But you can hear cries from some of the other Templars who are expecting those arrows to come flying down and aid them against the bears. A little bit of discord happening in and amongst here. As we go into the darkness of the waves, that brings us down into the underground crypt. It is now the lair action for the bone golem. You watch as it stands up. Viscous liquid begins to ooze down from it and seep into the cracks of the floor. And there is this deep maroony purple light that is starting to fill some of this chamber. But it is the top of the round, so Gret, it is your turn.
I am in a tough situation, but weirdly, Gret looks so happy to be here. He's like living his best life in the middle of combat, even though he's a step from death. He's going to cast Fairy Fire on the bone golem. Needs to make a DC 15 dex check.
Oh, it's not dexterous. That's a 5, so for a total of 4 on its check.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, Zeke, the little spiked ball that is Gret's very best friend, flies out of his backpack and starts to scan the bone golem. A bunch of information, almost like the HUD on a jet fighter. A bunch of like weak points and information. Let's be honest, too much information as it starts carbon dating the bones that it's made out of. But it gives everyone advantage on every attack against it now, as the like crosshairs start zipping around, showing you exactly where you can hit it for maximum damage. He's then going to use his bonus action, because he's a rogue, to disengage to run away a bit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, okay. I was like, you're gonna...
Is Fairy Fire concentration?
It is, yes, but I wouldn't put a concentration marker on me because any amount of damage will kill me over.
Okay. So you're going to run...
not away, Gret. Fuck.
Great. As Gret runs away and the echo of Fennec's fuck cry out, we come back up as the red lightning is seeming to chain between these 2 storm singers in front of you, Val. You are flanked by them and more chaos is happening all around you.
Val's mad now. We're not going to pull our punches anymore. Val's going to attack with penance. That's a 19 to hit.
That is going to pierce through the clerical vestments that this storm singer is wearing.
Right. So that's going to be 10 points of damage plus just 1 point of fire damage. And then we're going to make that a smite.
Smite?
We're going
to
Go
smite.
For it.
Smite away.
It's a 6 and a 7 for 15. Tell me how injured he looks, and then I can narrate what it looks like.
He's looking hurt, not completely done for, mainly because the radiant energy that flared off of Penance and into him, you saw the red lightning upon his skin crackle at that, and the radiant energy you delved into him did not seem to do as much damage as what you thought.
Val strikes forward with penance. The flames wrap around, glances across his side. So Val's slashed forward with penance, twists to drive it back forward towards the second guy. Dirty 20. And I can't smite twice in a row, right?
Yeah, you can. You can smite on every attack if you have the spell slots for
Let's fucking smite some stuff, right?
Smite as well.
Smite as well.
Sorry, I'm not in this fight. I'm not in that side of the fight, so nobody heard that.
So 8 slashing and then 4 fire plus 13.
Plus 13.
For smite.
Okay. They are both looking equally hurt from your attacks slamming into each of them. As they both recover from your sweeps into them, the lightning begins to crackle between them. In the center of this lightning, almost like a Tesla coil coming together, there's this small thundercloud that begins to form. I need to make a dexterity saving throw for me.
10.
A thunderous boom echoes and knocks you back 5 feet, and you're going to take 9 points of thunder damage.
Val just calls out, "Let go of her!"
They just stone-faced looking at you as they take mirrored stances to hold you off. You hear more crackling up above, and a bolt of lightning shoots down from the sky and tries to slam down into a cluster of wolves that are leaping over one of the fallen Templars. But with preternatural senses, their hackles rise and then they dart to the side, and the lightning bolt just slams down. You can see some of their fur get singed, but nowhere near what it could have, as they rolled a nat 20 on their dex save. As the wolves dart to the side and the smoke comes across, it waves across our view, and we come back down into the crypt. Sazey, it is your turn.
Sazey looks around at her companions and calls out, "How's everyone doing? Should I attack or do we need some healing?"
We're fucking peachy. I got the healing, just kill the thing.
Lay it on.
All right, so Sazey decides to cast Summon Fae.
Oh shit, okay.
Oh, nice.
What do you want to summon?
I want to summon, I believe, Mirthful. The Fae can force one creature it can see within 10 feet of it to make a wisdom saving throw. Unless you succeed, the monster becomes charmed.
Sazey, you wave your hands and then you summon a small satyr with goat legs and horns curling around. She is feminine in appearance and has this ivy breastplate that curls up into these creeping vines that come around in a beautiful, like, high collar. They take their pan flute and they trill a little ditty, and you can see the music swirls around and tries to go into this bone golem, but unfortunately it is a construct and is unable to be charmed.
Oh no! I wasted nothing.
However, you do now have a satyr ally that is on the field with you.
Right. Yeah, I guess I'll try to do, with a bonus action, I'll try to do like a melee attack. Oh gosh, 12.
I think you got a bonus to you can add your dex for your melee attack generally.
So +6.
Yeah, you only need a 13 to hit, so you do manage to hit. Great. So roll a d4 for your damage.
Oops, sorry. 1.
Okay, great.
These guys don't like me today.
You race up and you slash at the viscous tendrils that are on this thing. Not doing as much damage as you hoped, but still, something is better than nothing.
Hey, you can't damage reduce 1 damage.
It's true. As the wild green magic swirls around, the shapes of wolves coalesce as they race around the legs of 2 Shark-Helm Templars, toppling them to the ground, tearing away at their exposed flesh with their jaws. With a snap of broken bones, the harsh red glow of the Templars' tattoos fades. The wolves howl this victory as the bone golem also roars down towards Sazey. Fennec, it is your turn.
So Fennec, still feeling the fear that he was feeling before, takes a deep breath trying to calm that fear. He relaxes his body and says the magical words as his eyes swirl again in that Rorschach-like pattern. The air around him seems to shimmer in a way. Enhanceability is dropped, but he has an aura of vitality around him. And with a bonus action, Fennec looks towards Kynden. The shimmer in the air seems to gather around her body, and she is healed 8 hit points. He calls out, "Gret, get your ass over here."
Highly recommend.
As this energy covers Kynden, just at the top of her, sort of like at the bottom of her neck, kind of top of her chest, there's like a burning pain, light pain. It doesn't cause real damage, but you see like a compass-shaped burn.
Cool.
As you hold your ground, you watch as that bubbling viscera that is in the cracks that is around begins to weave up tiny tendrils. Gret, need to make a dexterity saving throw for me.
Oh, that's a nat 1 no matter what.
And that one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Would you like some bountiful luck?
I could use it.
Yeah.
17.
16 is the DC that you had to beat.
Well, 1's less than that.
Yeah, tendrils reach out and try and grab onto you to draw you in towards this creature, but you're able to bound out of the way. You hear the, incoming designation, Gret. There, and oh no, you got it. Good work. As Zeke is hopping about and still drawing little attention to various areas all over this bone golem. That was one of its legendary actions. Next up is Andromeda with Aiko upon your shoulder.
Hemmed in by newfound enemies, heart thundering with stress, tidal waves of emotion overtake Andromeda. The blood song of pain transforms her. Eyes black and hollow, blood streaming from her eyes and ears. Her body is bathed with the familiar weeping and screeching of the auroras as sharp ice chunks appear swirling in the waves around her. With a scream of pain, Andromeda takes 2 reckless attacks with her great axe at the storm singers closest to her and Val.
So you're going to hurl an axe at the storm singer closest to you, and then there is a shark-helmed Templar that is next to you as well that you're going to take an attack at.
11 for my first attack.
The red lightning that is crackling around the storm singers catches Valkyrin and sends it careening away from you, unable to strike.
22. 20 points of damage.
20 points of damage. Yeah, very nice. He buckles down to one knee as Valkyrin cleaves through part of the collarbone. You can see that red lightning is pulsating upon his skin, but its light is fading. It's still standing, but is looking incredibly hurt.
And I'm going to use my movement to bust through the enemy lines and get to the other side of the crystal, knowing that Andromeda will most likely draw enemy fire.
Are you trying to jump on top of the crystal, or are you...
Oh, I will now that you've suggested it.
just saying, because the crystal is floating above the waves, so otherwise...
Yes, please. Yes. Andromeda crouches and gives an almighty leap using her boots of springing and striding to land on top of the crystal.
Make a athletics check for me with advantage.
23.
Great, meant to be. You leap and land atop the crystal. It wobbles ever so slightly as it floats and levitates above the waves, and that light that is within seems to reflect this aurora borealis glow that is coming off of your skin. The storm singers, all 4 of them, turn to look directly at you.
Andromeda smiles, cracks the centerpiece on Valkyrin once more, and starts twisting and twirling it above her head in a steel helicopter of death.
Getting ready for some wild ass shit. Aiko on your back.
Yeah.
It's just been holding on.
Taking good care of him, don't worry.
Oh, you're doing great, Andromeda. You're doing great. I think if we can finish this, go. Whoa! Yeah, he just goes flying over. He is going to look at one of the guys who's now looking at Andromeda over near Val, and he's going to pluck out some notes, and you can see this discordant weave that comes out from it. He's going to try and cast blindness. They do not succeed, so...
He's blind and his back is turned to me?
Yes,
Nice.
indeed. Giving you all the advantages. As the waves are crashing, the hum of golden energy draws us down. Kynden, it is your turn.
Kynden launches through Fennec's legs straight towards the bonehead and starts running around his feet as she does mirror image, and multiple versions of herself pair away and start running circles around his feet.
You're now like racing around, distracting as Zeke is up above, and you can hear that as he's scanning and updating his systems in regards to weak points. Seeing this new threat come right up, the Bone Golem gets distracted from attacking Sazey. And it's going to use a legendary action to attack against you, Kynden. Slams down one of his scything talons right into the ground where one of your images were, but all four of you? All four of you duck to the side. And he is ineffective in this moment. But it is his turn. He gets his legendary actions back. He is now going to unleash 2 on Kynden, 2 on Sazey. Sazey, first hit is a 22. Second is going to miss you with a 14. Kynden, first hit is a 15. Second hit is only an 11. The scything talons of the Bone Golem eviscerate Sazey as she suffers 17 points of slashing damage and falls unconscious to the ground. Kynden, did you roll for your mirror image?
I got 19.
Nice, so one of your mirror images gets destroyed.
Yes.
And you don't take any damage.
Just kidding, that wasn't me!
As Kynden's mirror image is destroyed, the fractured pieces catch the iridescent light from Zeke. As they descend to the ground, they transition to the bears and wolves barreling forwards as the Stormsinger Templars dig in and prepare to buy time for their brethren. Broken Spear is going to extract himself and he is going to sink down into the earth. Val, you just watch as 2 stony hands reach up and grab the 2 Stormsingers that are in front of you. You watch as the 2 of them, lightning sparking between them. Fear suddenly engages in their eyes as they try and scrabble on the sand and then reach back towards their brethren, but they are just consumed by the very earth itself as Rungai brings them down and then rises up before you. We must save she who dreams. That is all that matters now.
You now have a clear shot towards Andromeda riding upon a sacred crystal with an ancient Logral locked within.
Dusk-hued skirmishers stand upon the tumultuous waves, drawing back their bows. They unleash a hail of arrows upon the wolves, allowing their Templar allies to disengage. All of them race into the wall of fog encroaching upon the rocky shores of this beach. Surrounded by viscous tendrils similar to the waves that are splashing around the dusk-hued individuals, Gret, you find yourself in the corner of this crypt, bleeding and bloody from many wounds. It is your turn. What would you like to do?
Because no one followed my advice of lay it on last time, Gret is going to run up to Sazey and cure wounds, level 1 spell. A bunch of foam comes out and instantly covers the wounds that Sazey has caused by the bone blades, and then a little jolt of electric shock wakes her up again as she heals 8 damage.
Sazey, all while this is happening before Gret comes to her aid, she can hear a muffling sound, but it's amplified by the sound of her slowing heartbeat. And it's like she's falling back from a tunnel of light, and it's getting darker and darker around her. And then she can hear his voice call out to her and feel the jolt of electricity.
Beautiful. Sazey, you arise as the swirling of green mist dissipates from Gret's Arcana, reviving you. Anything else for you, Gret?
The creature already has advantage on anyone who attacks it because of the fairy fire, but he's going to do another help action for anyone who wants to attack it to give it, the extra point of advantage doesn't matter, but there might be another thing that comes on later.
Right. As you do that, it's very reminiscent of Broken Spear pointing a stony hand towards the crystal in the waves. As Val, it is now your turn, the 2 Stormsingers in front of you having been vanquished.
Val is going to race forward and leap into the air and bring penance down on the one that's furthest.
Broken Spear is going to use this reaction to shift up some earth underneath you to help soar you up into the air as you sail over Andromeda and bring penance down.
Well, it's not biffing.
Oh, pretty close to biffing it.
12.
The lightning sparkles across and catches your blade. You are held in the air, suspended above the waves by the magic from these two storm singers, but you still have a second attack. 12. The magic catches and bursts out, and as it does so, you tumble and fall into the waves.
No! Val screams as she slams backwards into the waves, the water rushing in front of her eyes, obscuring her view of the crystal.
You begin to hear a calling, like there is a tug deep within you. There is this soft warmth that is playing over you, and it seems to be emanating from the crystal. I'd like you to make a perception check for me.
9.
You can't make out the words that or the emotions. There's all just a tumult of chaos that is happening around you. But the one thing that you do see is within the depths of the crystal, you see the shadow of a hand press against the side closest to you.
Do I have any movement left?
Because Broken Spear launched you into the air, you do still have some movement.
Great, so I could shove myself forward and place my hand on the crystal where the other hand is?
Yes, you could.
Great. Val's going to do that. Use an almost inhuman strength to push against the strength of the waves despite wearing full plate armor and hand to hand against whoever is inside the crystal.
You can feel that the waves around you are attempting to prevent you from doing this. It's like the very ocean itself is siding with these individuals, these raiders that have come here. You're able to fight against it and slam your hand against the crystal. As you do so, a twist of fate will occur for you in this moment. So I require you to flip the coin.
It's going to be great. This is going to be everything's going to be fine, everyone. It's positive.
Oh, wow. That's what that feels like.
You just got to line it up by saying, I'm not good at it first.
Yeah, okay.
It appreciates humility.
You have to, fake it out.
Yeah.
Those of you that are upon the beach in this moment, watch Val plants a hand against the side of this crystal. As you do so, you match the much larger hand that is encased within. There is this massive chime that sounds that vibrates out. The two storm singers that are next to you are knocked asunder by this wave of force that echoes out from the crystal. Broken Spear digs his feet in and is able to resist what is happening, but you watch as all of the other raiders that are there get knocked down. The bears and wolves hear this and then they begin to flee away, dragging those raiders that they can with them off into the distance. Andromeda, perched atop the crystal, your hair flying around in this preternatural wind. You watch as it begins to rise up, yourself and Val seeming to float around in the air. Val's hand still touching, and you see as this white light just emanates from Val's eyes and her head rolls back, and as her mouth opens, there is just white light that flares out, shooting up into the sky and clearing out the fog that was surrounding this place in an unnatural stillness gets knocked away. As it does so, you can see a warship that is just off to the sideline. A figure with a sea serpent helm upon their head in resplendent gold with beautiful bone inlaid stands, red lightning crackling up and down their arms as they're holding their hand out, attempting to command the very storm clouds that are up above. But the light that flares out from Val in this moment, his cloak flares in the wind as he brings a hand up to shield his eyes, and he just stares at this floating crystal that is in the sky. Turning, you can hear a wordless shout, and the ship begins to slowly unfurl its sails and begin to turn away from this shoreline. Darkness takes us as we descend down into the crypts.
Sazey, after coming to thanks to the help of her good friend and leader, Gret.
Make a perception check for me in this moment, please, Sazey.
18 plus a whole bunch of other stuff.
So 30 total?
Yeah.
30 total? Yeah. In this moment, almost forgotten about in the chaos of what has been happening, you hear this faint, almost like rustling in the winds, like tree branches moving as a fierce storm comes by. And as you look over your shoulder, you see the backpack that lies on the ground, the one that triggered all of this. And you can see jutting out from it is this dark journal, looking like it's made from some odd leather with weird runic inscriptions upon it. But the rustling seems to get louder as your gaze falls upon it.
Sazey conjures her flame blade. As it manifests in her hand, a purple flame ignites along the blade. As the blade plunges into the pages, black liquid pours from the pierced hole, recoiling from the purple flames that are licking along the cover.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Okay, so 18 so far. That's 8.
As your blade slams down, the fire licking on the edges, you watch as dark wisps of tendrils begin to swirl out, and as you plunge it in there, the golem that's in front of you seems to sink in on itself, as though the viscera that makes up his form is begin to burn and boil. It starts to go down onto one knee, crying out with pain, and that laughter that has been echoing all throughout this chamber suddenly has a high-pitched scream to it. In this moment, as this is happening, Kynden and Fennec, is there anything that you want to do to add into what Sazey is doing right now as an attempt to banish this creature?
Oh, yeah, I do. Seeing his defenses drop, Fennec does a somewhat familiar spell at this point, says the words and does the gesture and pushes his hands forward as he casts Guiding Bolt. Black energy that glitters with gold shoots at the monster. 16?
Yeah, that hits.
Perfect. And, oh man, I suffer the damage as well. So as the bolt sort of shoots from Fennec, it seems to draw some of his own life energy with it as it smashes into the monster.
You watch as the monster, the bright red viscera that makes up, starts to blacken and char from the burning that is happening in the book, as well as the poison that is flowing through it now from Fennec's radiant energy. Kynden, what do you want to add into this?
Kynden sees all of this chaos happening, reaches for the 3 stones in her pocket, still with 2 other Kyndens by side. She backs up away from the bonehead monster and launches her 3 magic stones, which looks more like 9 magic stones, into his eyed mouth.
All of the stones from the mirror images and Kynden land, and they get consumed by the viscera, and then you just watch as there's all of these internal explosions, this bright yellowish magic that is happening within. The creature is on its last legs as Sazey is still holding strong with the flame blade and the burning book that is there as the finishing moment. Gret, is there anything you would like to do in this moment?
I want to watch my team work.
Great. You and Zeke sit back and watch as the culmination of all of these acts comes together, and the book that Sazey had slammed the flame blade into bursts into flame, and as it does so, the golem just seems to transform back into all of the viscera that it was and splash out onto the ground, and the clattering of bones and charred blood. In the silence, an awful stink fills the air, but you are victorious for now. Woo! And that's where we will end episode 6 of Twist of Fate.
Twist of Fate is Lydia Campbell as Sazey Willowvale, Chelsey Styut as Val, Adam Klassen as Fennec Nazran, Melanie Ellyce as Kynden Treacle, Nikolai Witschl as Gret Vex, Ian Greenwell as Rusco Wanwa, Chelsey McPherson as Andromeda de Phouka, and Braye as our narrator. With Adam Klassen as our composer, Braye and Melanie Ellyce as our editors, Callum Rudyk as our sound engineer, with mastering by Jordan Klassen, and Braye and Melanie Ellyce as our sound designers. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Twist of Fate Adventures, or follow our website, shows.acast.com/twist-of-fate. Links in the episode description. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us so that you don't miss out when our episodes drop. Your reviews are wonderful too. Those words and ratings help our story reach across the realm to find other adventurers seeking comfort through storytelling. Our next episode flies forth on the backs of dragons. Until then, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. May you challenge destiny and shape your own twist of fate.